Hey everyone, hold on. I'm so confused here. How's everybody doing? Give me just a second. Okay, I forgot to put the chat window in. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to my live stream as usual. I'm a few minutes late. Not as late as I've been in the past, but hopefully everybody can see and hear me okay. Let me fix the chat window real quick and then I'll get started here. I'll tell you what's going on here in a second. Okay, that looks like it's working. All right, so well, let's see who's here. We have Plato and Jeff Painter, Mark Wolf, John Softly. Oh my goodness, 5 a.m. Wow. And Nature with Music, good to see you. Barry, Chirupan, David Crooks, always good to see you, David. And I'm really gonna try and make it this Sunday. 7. It's this Sunday, right? 7 a.m. over somewhere in Virginia, right? And Bob Tishmarsh, good to see you. John Leach. Oh, all right. I think that's everyone. I rearranged my workspace here, and so everything is opposite right now. It's like I have to work. If you've noticed, like the chat window's on the left side or right, I can never tell, but it's on the other side, and I'm sort of at an angle, but I have so much more desk space now because the way I was set up before, I had the camera right in my face, right? And and then I had no desk space to kind of work, but now I'm kind of spread out here, and I'm using the same EM1 Mark II for the streaming, but I'm using a 25mm lens now instead of a 12. And now I'm not, just a big giant head in the frame. But the main thing is I just have more open space, and I only have one green screen now instead of I had two set up in this little tiny 8x8 room. But anyhow, that's what's going on. For those of you that have come to my streams, come to my streams on a regular basis, you know what I'm talking about, right? And I only have to use really one extra light instead. Before I was using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights before to do the video, because I had all these, or to do the stream because I had all these green screens up that was blocking light from all different directions. And but now I just got one main light here, my umbrella, and then just the normal light here for the, that's for the room. Oh, so this is not a true, I may have to, well, anyhow. So as always, I'm here today to answer any questions you might have about Olympus cameras or photography in general, and just to catch up on what's new. I never too old to rock and roll. I got the chat window here, so I'm not used to looking. I'm used to looking over here. But hey, Tirupan, good to see you. I don't know, David. I didn't see you answer that last question about this Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's this Sunday. I think there's an ad calendar. David Crooks, who's in the chat section here, he has a local photography club, local to me anyway. And I recently joined, and I'm really excited to go out, as much as I can with the group. Because I haven't gone out much at all, and it's killing me. I just want to go out and take pictures, and then I don't know what happens, but I get very anxious when I go out, the way things are right now. So unless it's kind of a planned thing, I don't go. And fortunately, David has the group that sets up something every week that just gives me something planned that I can go to. So and you meet a lot of nice people. I can't wait to see David again. There's another David there who does a lot of film camera stuff. And so I might bring my Fujifilm 6x9 out, which Larry Hayes sold to me. And the other thing is I might be getting an Olympus E330. Now that's an old, DSLR from Olympus that what's unique about it, I think it's only 10 megapixels. I have to look up the specs, but it uses a Kodak design, or a sensor designed by Kodak. And I've seen some images from that camera, and the colors are really beautiful, straight out of camera. So I'm excited to try that, and maybe I'll put that side by side with the Fujifilm and the current Olympus cameras, and just do a little comparison. I don't know if I want to carry 3 cameras again. That was a bear. But yeah, the 6x9. Oh, David is here. Awesome. The other David Teller, you're the one with all the film cameras, right? Because I'm gonna bring that with me. You can help me because I haven't unloaded the current film in there. I watched a YouTube channel, and I saw how they loaded the film and unloaded it. But maybe you can help me load and unload it in real time, because I was able to load the film, but I'm a little worried about unloading it. Like I'll open it up and expose all the film, and all that's wasted. It's not cheap, medium format film. I guess it's cheaper than developing it, but still. And the Mark Booth is asking, the D700 OK CCD colors. Yes, the D700 is very well regarded by a lot of photographers. And I only know that from watching the Angry Photographer, who just thinks it's one of the best cameras ever. And I see it time to time at the local camera store for sale for like $400 or $500, and I'm so tempted to get it. And then I think to myself, I already have a D750, which how much difference can there be, right? But the original CCD sensors were the preferred sensor early on over the current CMOS tech. But CMOS has kind of caught up, technically speaking, and offers some more benefits, which I can't think of off the top of my head. But originally, CCD sensors were the preferred sensor over CMOS. I think CMOS was, eventually took over as it advanced and caught up to CCD, mainly because of the cost of developing the CMOS chipper was much less expensive than developing a CCD sensor. And there's some other things about CMOS and CCD. But my memory fails me. I read so many white papers on the differences between CCD and CMOS. Not even 6 months ago, and now I can't even remember a thing. It's terrible. But whenever I shoot with it, I think, rolling shutter, not that many CCD cameras had video anyway, but rolling shutter was a non-issue, and at the time it had better light gathering ability, because it did it a little differently than CMOS. But if you Google YouTube, you'll see a bunch of videos on the difference between CCD and CMOS, and I did that, but I also read a lot of white papers on CCD design versus CMOS design. And like I said, for the life of me, I can't remember anything. And let's see. Hey, Ralph, how are you? John follows. Good to see you. And then Nature says, yes, great being a member of a local photo club to go out together, learning a lot from. Yes, definitely. And David, oh, okay, good, David. I'm gonna try and I'm gonna watch a YouTube video and see if I can change it myself in a very dark room just in case. And then load up a film before I go out, but we'll see. Any advice on getting an inexpensive light meter for my film camera, folks? You can find a used Seikonic. You know, I forget which model it is, but they have some used ones for around $100. I don't know if that's inexpensive. Relatively speaking, it is. And then there's older ones that people really like. I think, what's his name? Nick Carver uses an old light meter that looks like a little, one of those heat sensor guns. I can't remember the model of that either. Oh my God, my brain. How come I can't remember anything? It's frustrating. But Nick Carver has a light meter that he really likes, better than even the modern Seikonics, because it measures the light. I guess the modern ones do that too. I don't know why he likes it better. I think he likes it better because there's physical marks on the lens, on the meter, that he can access rather than looking at an LCD screen. And but check out Nick Carver's channel and just search for light meters, and then you'll see it'll come up right away. I just can't remember it now. That one still sells for around $100, even though it's like 30 years old, but it's really one of the best. Let me just look it up. I'm sorry. Nick Carver light meter. Yeah, it's this video here. This video here, Nick Carver light meter. And it's this one that he's kind of showing right here. See how it has the dials? I don't know what model that is, but it'll come up right away for you. Then let's see. Seikonic Digilight F used. Okay. Yeah, John, and the Pentax Spotmatic. That's the one. Thank you, Jeff Painter. That's what it is. It's a Pentax Spotmatic. About 80 to 100 bucks. That makes sense. So I, because I eBayed those for a little bit. I shopped them on eBay. But I didn't buy one because I just bring my Olympus camera and use it as to measure the exposure and set those settings, because I want to take the pictures side by side and compare them anyway. Yeah, total dark room. Yeah, you're right, Frank. But I see people changing film like at high noon, and I'm like, oh my God, But I guess the little 35 millimeter, it's okay. But I'm always nervous about that. And then John Softly says a Seikonic Digilight F. A Seikonic L308X. Yes, I have a black bag. I do have a black bag somewhere. Like a legit black bag. I can't find. I'll never find it though. I'll just have to use like a duffel bag or something. and turn off the lights in the room. But then I can't see anything, so I don't know. Maybe I'll risk it. We'll see. I'll let you guys know how it goes. I'll try and change it before the weekend. The 120 film, and then load up, because it rolls into the other side. I'm trying to remember. It rolls into the other side, and then paper covers it as you continue winding. And then eventually I should hear it stop. And then I can take the film out. And I'm going to take it out in a dark room to minimize any kind of light leaks that might be there. And then loading the new film is I feel pretty comfortable, I think. It's coming back to me. God, my brain. I just don't get it. Seriously. I don't know how much longer I'm going to continue. Because I can just barely put two thoughts together anymore. Maybe I should go see a doctor. I don't know. Between that and just trying to stay awake, it's just taking more coffee all the time, just to be able to make it through a day. And I don't know if that's just because I'm just cooped up in the house all day, or because I think when I go out I feel okay, but just being in the house and watching TV or YouTube, I just I just start passing out. Arthur, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Giveaway, isn't that crazy a bit? Let's see. Ralph says, hi Rob, I just bought my EM5 Mark III 2 weeks ago to replace my all-time travel cam Pen F. Maybe sometimes like my travel vids. But yesterday Olympus offered a Mark II with a 1.2 Pro lens as a giveaway. Wow, okay. I didn't see that. I know right now the EM5 Mark II, today's the last day if you want to get a deal on it. Like $550 body only for a brand new EM5 Mark II. Where is it? Right here. Yeah, $549. Today's the last day for this deal. How many left? 9 left. You know what's funny though? I checked this on 2 days ago when the sale started, and there was 10 left. So only one person has bought a camera. I don't know how reliable this stock number is. I'm not sure that's really for real or not, but that's a deal. And it's USA only, I'm sorry to say. So if you've been thinking about an EM5 Mark II, here's my affiliate link. No, it's not. Never mind. Forget the affiliate link. If you want to buy one, go to Amazon, USA only. How do I delete this thing? Dang it. Oh, Von Schwarzschild, good to see you. Weren't they giving away a free grip too? I don't know. I think, yeah, the promotions change constantly. They're really, like, the deals that they have now when they come out are amazing. It's very random though. But I keep my eye out. So if you go to the Olympus website, like Get Olympus, and put your phone number in there, they'll text you every time there's a deal. And that way you won't miss them. But I'll post them in my community tab if I see a deal, so you guys can get one. Like last week it was what's on my community tab now? I can't remember. Oh, it was all the refurbished stuff. Somebody bought music sound gear. Another person that is usually here. He said he couldn't be here today, but he told me he got the 25mm f1.8 for $159. You know, and it came in, and he said it's great. And Squat Rock, you got the EM1 Mark II with a 12-200 for $1,050. Man, that's amazing. And Logan said you bought an EM10 Mark II the other day for $320 with the lens. Yeah, that's a great deal. That's a great deal. That EM10 Mark II, this, I still, I don't use it as much as I used to because it's got a few issues now. Because I've dropped it so many times, but now I have an EM5 Mark II to really, that's really the replacement for that camera. I was going to buy another one, but I got a good deal on the EM5 Mark II. The deal I got was, I got the brand new, I got the EM5 Mark II with a 14 to 150 for $6.99. It was like a Best Buy deal. It was actually one of the viewers here on the channel that alerted me to it while during the stream. He said, the EM5 Mark II is now at Best Buy for like $6.99. So I'm really grateful. I can't remember who told me about it, but I was yeah, I went out that after the stream was over, I just put it in my shopping cart and bought it because I said, well, I need to replace my EM10 anyway. Oh, Marsha's here. How are you? And Logan, you have an OM2, you've been shooting film, but you want to shoot some digital. Yeah, definitely you'll love the EM10. Now I've noticed the EM10 Mark II, the colors are a bit warmer than my other Olympus cameras, which I don't know why, but they're just a tad warmer. So it's gonna look different than if you have any other Olympus digital cameras. And then right now in the UK, they have the M10 Mark III with a 14 to 42 for $379. Wow. Yeah, they're trying to dump those Mark IIIs because the Mark IV just came out. Hi, Trevor. How you doing? But I still say get the Mark II over the Mark III. And the Mark IV, that flip down screen is pretty attractive though. If you don't care about that, I'd still get a Mark II. But if that means anything, and you need 4K, the Mark IV EM10 looks really good. Which is the best lens for deli meat photography? Wow, it depends. I think. I guess it depends how close you need to get. If you need to get really close, so I'm not familiar with deli meat photography, but if you need to get really close, 60mm macro. If you don't need to get that close, then any prime lens really, the 25mm prime, 17mm prime, the f1.8s, those are really good, and you can have pretty close focusing distances. But even a kit lens would be fine. But if you really want, razor sharp images, a prime would be best. The 12mm f2 is really good. So if you have a kit lens now, just focus in and zoom in and out and see what focal length you need to take the pictures that you want to take, and then buy that specific prime, and you'll be good. I mean, the other option is just buy 12 to 40 Pro, which is going to cost a lot more. I think a prime. I would recommend a prime over a 12 to 40 Pro though. And Ross says the 60mm is great for food. Yeah, I think the 60mm would be great, but it's very tight. You'd have to really get close to the deli meat. I mean, there's a 30mm macro out there as well that you might consider. I've seen that lens go for like $100-150. That lens is tack sharp and gets really, really close as well. So you might want to consider that. But again, I would see what focal length you need and buy a prime, either the 25, 30, 60, 17, whatever focal length it turns out to be. And that's what's great about the kit lens. Is it's a decent lens, right? But it really gives you a feel for the focal lengths that you like to shoot with. That will help you decide what prime you want to get later on. Yeah, and Robin Wong, Robin Wong and Peter Forsgard, Jimmy Cheng, they're all really good resources. I don't know how responsive they are, like when you ask questions. But I assume they read their comments on a video and respond to them. I've never looked at their comment section, to come to think of it. They normally respond to mine when I comment on their videos, so I assume they're fairly responsive. I wouldn't hesitate to ask them. Randy says, just eat it. Squat Rock says, thanks for all the videos and information. Recently took up photography again after 30 years and forgotten more than I ever learned. And going to MFT has been a breeze. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Lars, hey, how are you, Lars? I noticed the M1X now costs the same as the M1 Mark III here in Sweden. Hard to sell. Probably. Yeah, I would pick an EM1 Mark III over an EM1X. Because, you know, the M1 Mark III, you can just buy a grip if you want that versatility, right? The only thing the M1X has really over the M1 Mark III, I think, is that artificial intelligence autofocus with trains, planes, and cars or something. I can't think of any other advantage that it has. Maybe it's more rugged, you know, but... Is Ibis effective at shutter speeds of 1/500th or faster? Generally not. Yeah, I don't think it really makes much difference, if any. Thinking... I mean, if you're shooting super long telephoto lenses, 500 millimeters or higher, you know, yeah, then it makes a difference. Because generally you want your shutter speed to be double your focal length. And in practice, I try to do 4 times the focal length, even with the Ibis, right? Because of our Micro Four Thirds camera, the pixel pitch is so fine that the slightest movement, you know, your image is going to be blurry or it's going to have motion blur. So you know, if I have a 500th of a, if I have a, well, like my 75 to 300, if I'm at 300 millimeters, I'd like to be at 1/1000th of a second or 1/1200th of a second or faster with the Ibis on. Yeah, so it makes a difference in the super telephotos, but if you're under 100 millimeters, yeah, it's not going to matter. Okay, good. Good to know, Plato. Robin and Peter, I figured they did, because I always answered mine. The others are spotty. Yeah, well, you know, different strokes for different folks, right? You know, if you can connect with Peter, or you can connect with Robin or Jimmy, you know, on their videos and tutorials. Like, you know, Peter, oh my God, did you see Peter's video on, what was it called? Common mistakes for photographers, makers? I forget the title of it. It was excellent. Really excellent video by Peter. I just watched it this morning, and, you know, I wasn't expecting much because, you know, I'm in a place now that you know, I don't know, I didn't, you know, because I'm being a little bit, what's the word? I can't even think of the word. But when I watched it, I said, man, these are all excellent points and very, very well explained. I thought he did an excellent job. So if you haven't seen his video on common photography mistakes, you should check it out, you know? I think it was an excellent video. And do you need Ibis for over 1/1000th of a second? Oh, yeah, always. Well, it just depends on the focal length, really. I mean, the longer the focal length, the more you need it. I mean, I know Robin Wong shoots. He just did a video on shooting telephoto, right? Tips on getting sharp images with a telephoto. I'm sure he talked about Ibis in that. But definitely Ibis makes a big difference. But the longer the focal length, the more important Ibis in the lens is. I think anything over 300 millimeters, you really need Ibis in the lens to compensate for the Ibis, the lack of motion that the Ibis has in the camera, because it really has to start moving to keep up with a very long focal length. Oh, Wudang, how are you? Always good to see you. I was trying to think. I saw something. I think I saw your channel this morning. Another one. Click click something, click photography or something, where you were doing some DJ Osmo stuff. I use a DJ Osmo time to time. Right here. It's not a bad little camera. I mean, I bought it because it has the gimbal on it, so I can do some smoother vlogging, but I find I don't really need it with Olympus. And Randy says, I got an awesome moonshot on my X, 300 f4 Pro, 1/250th f5.6 handheld. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Are you still making videos at all? I mean, other than for your Wudang Academy channel. Are you doing any photography videos? Because I thought you were really had a good start there, but I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything lately, because I remember I subscribed to it, but then nothing ever comes up on my thumbnails. And then when I went to this morning, I just was searching down. I said, okay, let me see who I'm subscribed to, what's new. And then I was like, oh man, there's click subscribe photography or something, and yeah, nothing's been posted there like in a year. Oh, you're busy with work. Yeah, you should try to do more. I mean, work comes first, of course, but you yeah, Wudang is very competent photographer, videographer now. He started watching my channel as a complete beginner, and he's gone way over what I can do now. Lars says, I tried to reproduce paintings in high-res mode with studio flashes. Camera on a sturdy tripod, but images came out very blurry. I had to drop it. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if there's something wrong with your high-res shot mode, because you shouldn't be getting blurry images. I mean, the only thing I can think of is you're too close and using too wide of an angle lens, so you're getting some depth of field issues, right? From one corner to the next. So I would think, you know, back off a little bit and zoom in so you get a flatter focal plane, you know, like a smaller angle of view, and then try that. I mean, don't get too far back, but let's see. Oh, okay. Thanks, Wudang. Yeah, it's a little strange. That's all I can think of is maybe you're, you know, if you're really close, you have to have this wide field of view, and your depth of field is going to be affected just because of the angle. I mean, I can't imagine you'd be using a wide angle lens. I think any normal 25 or 45 millimeter lens should be narrow enough to give you a decent flat focal plane. So use manual focus on a 75 millimeter lens, so it's not field of view. Yeah, 75 would not be a field of view problem for sure. Wow, that's really odd. I can't imagine that. I'm trying to think, what's the flattest thing I ever did? I mean, I do a lot of real estate, architectural stuff, but I'm always wide angle. And that is odd. I'll have to try it myself and see. I can't imagine what the problem would be, though. Or where the tech. I mean, you have any ideas why that was happening? Like what? I mean, do you have any idea why that was happening, Lars? Because that seems like the perfect setup. 75 millimeter with the flash, because the flash will definitely freeze any motion, right? Because the shutter becomes irrelevant. And then the only thing I can think of is there's a 2-second delay between flashes. Yeah, because you can sync the high-res mode with a flash delay, right? Gosh, that... But that, yeah, maybe. Maybe I could see where if there's a 2-second delay, in that 2 seconds, the camera might move a tiny bit. I mean, not perceptible, you know, to normal humans, right? But and then when it stitches the images back together, they could be blurry. But I'd have to try it myself, because definitely when I'm doing shots here in my house, I have these creaky wooden floors. So when I take a shot indoors that's, you know, long shutter speed, which is effectively high res, right? I like hold my breath and I don't move for the duration of the exposure, because you know, it'll be blurry. Yeah, not Ibis, no Ibis, but you know, the sensor shifts inside. And I'm a little confused though. I'll have to try that. So you're doing 75mm high-res shot mode with flash. And how big was the canvas? Were they just normal size? I would imagine, you know, 2x2 or something, right? Probably not bigger than 36-inch canvas. And oh, hey, Sefron's here. Hello, with your help on the EM5 Mark III, after trying it, decided it was better to buy the 12-200, and now I can use it on the G9 and GX85. Not sure what I'll do with the old 4/3 12-150 3.5 though. Yeah. Just put it on eBay, I guess. I mean, that can't be the only 4/3 lens you have, is it? Keep tension on your knee to push up. One good trick, Wudang saying, one good trick to keep your gravity center as stable as possible is to hold your breath. Push the shoulder down and keep tension in your teeth to push up. Okay. That's how you get good shutter speeds. Huh. Keep tension in your knee. So I guess you're bending your knee slightly? Is that what you're saying? Yes. Yeah, high-res turns off Ibis. It uses the shutter mechanism in Ibis to move the sensor. Basically, knee push up and shoulder push down, opposite tension. Okay. Your English is fine, Wudang. What other language do you speak? I didn't know you spoke anything other than English. And then, yeah, bend slightly. Oh, you have the 50 f2? 50 f2, but it works good on your G9. German, English, and Chinese. Wow. Okay, I can see the German. You look a little Germanic or whatever. The Chinese, I guess that's because of your kung fu, right? Yeah, German is your mom's language. I see. And Arthur's thinking there's maybe a parallax distortion on the 75mm. That would be... Huh. I guess. Maybe, yeah. That's interesting. That's an interesting photo challenge. Because I can't, because Lars is a very competent photographer. I mean, like, really good. And for him to have a challenge, like not be able to do a shot like that, surprises me. I'm curious, Lars, did you try another camera, like maybe a Nikon or Canon or something, and get the shot? And just couldn't do it with Olympus? Because that would... I'm just curious, because I can't imagine why that would be a challenging shot. Hmm. Yeah. Trevor's saying he would get a cramp, and you need to stretch. Wudang's saying you need to stretch. Oh my God. You know, years and years and years ago, at least 20, I did some karate. Never got a belt, you know, but I did for a couple of summers go out and practice some katas, you know. And stretching was the worst. I'm so inflexible. I can't touch my toes or anything. I need to get back in shape though. I just used my EM1 Mark III, skipping high res mode, and everything was tack sharp. Wow. So it's not the lens combo if you're getting tack sharp without high res, but then when you use high res, it's tack sharp. I'm sorry, when you use regular mode. So I'm curious, does high res work at all? Like, are you getting good tack sharp high res images on other stuff? It's just when you do canvases with a flash? It's just very curious. The M1X is a different piece. I like it with big lenses, and it has a place in the lineup. 2 batteries, plug-in charge via USB are good features amongst others. Yes. Yeah, I never bought a grip for my EM2, EM1 Mark II, or EM1 Mark III. It gives you the second battery, but I'm not sure about the charging part. I'm curious the charging regimen on either camera, if they're the same or different, because you know the EM1 Mark III does charging now through USB, but it doesn't charge while while you're using the camera. Yes, Wudang, you're correct. Photographers need to be fit and healthy so we can get any shot. Strong body, strong mind, strong focus. And I think Jimmy Chang, I think during one of the streams, talked about being a wedding photographer, that you have to be really in shape because you're constantly running around, getting down on the ground, climbing things, you know, like you have to be in super shape to really be a wedding photographer. And he's going to be back on track here. I saw a post on his community tab. He's going to start posting videos again because it looks like there was like a 2 or 3 week hiatus there from him. But yeah, something's got to give. I got to work out. I don't like how I look on camera, and I don't like, you know, climbing a flight of stairs and being out of breath. I should be able to climb a flight of stairs, you know, and not like have a heart attack. Yeah, low angles. I get it. I bought three L bracket for my EM1 Mark III, and the only drawback is the swivel screen becomes restricted. Yeah. Yeah, Brad, I did. But yeah, the L brackets are going to restrict your range of motion on your tilt screen. There are L brackets that have a little cutout that lets you at least angle the flip out screen. It's with some limited motion. But for the most part, yeah, it's limiting it's going to limit your range of motion. And yes, Brad, I did return the RP last week. Gave it back to my cousin. He was so happy to get it back. And of course, you know, like a year from now, I'll ask him, you know, did you take any pictures? And he'll say no. But I know what it's like. I mean, you really don't want to leave a camera with me that long because, you know, I'm just not, I try to be careful, but I just drop things all the time. And I felt a little bad because I think I took about 1,500 pictures and I did, you know, 20 or 30 videos with it. And you could tell it was used after I used it. Like when he gave it to me, it looked brand new. But after I gave it back to him, yeah, it's functional and everything, but it looked like it had been handled. And I tried to clean it, you know, but it just wasn't the same. It looked like a used camera when I gave it back to him. Oh, Bob is asking, Hi-Res takes 9 shots in a fraction of a second. Yeah. There's a flash delay feature. Let me try my new fancy. I was working on my live stream stuff here. This is the M1 Mark III, but I know the M1 Mark II has the same feature. I'm not sure if high-res works though when it's plugged into the... high-res turns off when I plug it in, so I'm just gonna have to... Well, high-res turns off when you're in video mode, that's for sure. Dumbass. Alright, here we go. Yeah, it's called charge time. So... I mean, I know for you, I don't have to go through this whole rigmarole, you get it, but I just want to show it on screen. Alright, menu. Yeah, it's there. Let me try it. Whoops. Over here. So you go into the menu. You go into high-res shot mode. There's charge time. So you can set the timer here for it to wait for your flash to recharge, right? And that's it. Set maybe a 2-second delay or 4-second delay before it takes the first shot, and then set up a 15-second delay between each one, and that's how it works. And Uday says, Andy Noise, get Photoluminar, Let's Enhance is doing it too. Topaz is a plugin. Overpriced, other software can do better results. Okay. I don't use any plugins or anything. I don't, yeah, I'm just cheap. I did try the, someone recommended I use, I think it was Play-Doh, right? You said I should try Affinity Photo. It's okay. I'll talk about that maybe during the live stream on editing. And then Christopher says, I have a 14mm Lumix and a 40-150 cheaper Olympus zoom. For low light museum, should I get a 17 or a 25? 7 seems to be close to... well, you know, I would get the 17, you know, over the 25. If you're thinking about museums where you're standing pretty far away from most of the exhibits, right? You still want to get a pretty wide angle view of it. If you're talking about like jewelry and other types of things where you can get really close, the 25 would be a better choice. But museums in general, you're walking around behind ropes and you can't get too close. But you want to capture sort of a... It sounds contradictory, right? I'm telling you, get a wide angle when you can't get too close. But usually when you can't get too close, the exhibits are pretty big, and you want to be able to get it all in, right? So like if it's a giant dinosaur skeleton or an airplane or a huge painting, 17 millimeter is probably a better choice. And then if it's stuff that you can walk up to, like, I don't know, pottery, and I don't go to museums that much, but then maybe a 25 would be a better choice for smaller objects. So I know that sounds contradictory, but I think for a museum I would choose a 17. And you're choosing the 17 mainly because of the lower light capability over the 14. Because the Lumix 14 is an f2.5, I believe. So it's 2/3 of a stop slower than the 17. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but in a museum, when light is low, you need every little bit that you can get. And one really good tool is Photo Luminar 3. It gets really good quick results from RAW files. It's basically usable JPEG out of RAW. Okay, I'm not familiar with Photo Luminar. Photo Luminar 3. Never heard of it. But, check it out. Maybe you guys might like it. And then Plato says, nope, it was not me. I used Workspace, Lightroom, Standalone, and PS Elements. Okay. Somebody said I should try it in the last stream. And then Christopher says, food for thought. Okay. I think you were asking about the museum. Yeah. Randy says the 12-100 is my go-to lens. Yeah, that's an f4 though. That's going to be rough in a museum. Okay, I gotta look this up. Photo Lumar. I'm not even pronouncing that right. $35. Wow. That's dang reasonable. Automatic photo enhancing. Mac and PC download. So what does it do? It says drag and drop. The first fully automated photo enhancer that leverages a powerful AI to make your images great. Okay. Interesting. Wow, Photo Lumar's helped you out a lot. Okay, Gudang. Well, there you have it, everybody. Photo Lumar. Lysipis says mental strength required. TV programming zookeeper fitted a cage to side of Land Rover to shoot tigers with a square aperture. Tiger's paw could get in. Close call. Thankfully, camera was not harmed. Okay, and then oh, wow. So the tiger's paw could get into the opening in the cage. Yeah, those guys are lunatics, especially those shark people. They get in their shark cages. Ever since I saw that movie Jaws, and I saw it when it first came out in the theater, yeah. Snapseed is good. Luminar 4 from Skylum is pretty good. Yeah. Nature says, not me either. I do use Affinity for my Panasonic and Olympus cameras. Isn't that what I said? Affinity? Maybe it was Nature was the one telling me to use Affinity. Because, yeah, it's Affinity Photo. What did I say before? The problem I have with a lot of photo editing software, and this was a problem with Luminar 3, I don't know about Luminar 4, is you can really only open one picture at a time. And it was very hard to find pictures, right? Because you're just using your computer's file manager, and on Windows, there's no thumbnails for the raw files for Olympus. You know, you just see a little file icon. So it was really frustrating, and that's the problem I'm having with Affinity is it only lets me open one file at a time, so I have to browse it. And when I'm browsing my raw images, there's no preview thumbnail. There's only like this little file icon. So that was my first challenge with it, just starting to use it. And then when I got into it, the tools, it had a lot of tools in there. And I like that it's kind of mixing a little bit of a vector program together with a photo editing software. So it has some really neat features in it. I kind of liked all of that. So Affinity, I mean, it's only $49, but I'd still probably recommend Adobe Photoshop Elements over Affinity. I just feel like, because Photoshop Elements has a more robust data asset management that can be converted to Lightroom later if you want to. And I think other software can import Photoshop database files. Maybe not, but at least within Photoshop Elements, you have a very robust photo management system to help you find photos and look at photos and things like that. For people when you don't want to edit hundreds of photos. Yeah, I'm kind of with Lars. If I have to post process, I like to do it, you know, myself, but I do it for just fun. If I do edit those files, but you know, for my pro work, I definitely need, you know, Photoshop and Lightroom together. I need very specific tools that offers that I haven't found in any other software. But yeah, I'm curious about this photo. How do you pronounce that? Photo Lemur 3. Photo Lemur. Maybe it's Photo Lemur. Photo Lemur 3. And then Sephron is saying, every I used to get in the cages with a guy who had 40 tigers and follow a vet who had to do shots with a blowgun. I had to keep track of the headshots of the tigers. Wow. You guys have such interesting lives. I mean, that's crazy. Like, I don't know what I'm going to tell my well, I'll never have grandkids because I don't have kids, but like my nephew's kids, what do you call them? Agreed. I will always use Photoshop for editing with Photoshop Camera Raw tool, which is excellent. Yeah, it works. It works. I mean, there's other software that'll get you there, but there's very specific tools in Photoshop that I need. Okay. I'm curious though. I wish maybe there's a free trial I can get from them and try it, you know? But yeah, I like editing manually, kind of like Lars, you know, just get creative. But if you just want a clean image, I suppose Photo Lemur would work. Photo Lemur, I still have it up on my screen here. AI Brain does all the work for you. So it looks like the before and after picture, it looks like, yeah, it's just adding a little contrast without oversaturating. Okay, I mean, yeah, quick and dirty, right? Why not? eye enhancement, skin smoothing, face retouching. Wow, does all kinds of stuff. Anyhow. And then Bob Tishmar says, it's an auto processing program. There's a free version with watermark for testing. Okay. I can try it just to see. It's like I tried that Affinity Photo, and yeah, I added one image. You know, I took some time to edit one image. Like, I didn't just quickly do things. I actually took some time to really get the image the way I wanted it. And ultimately, though, I didn't see anything. I mean, it had a lot of other tools, but for just image editing, it didn't really have any significant advantage over Workspace, other than a little more granularity in some of the controls. I mean, it's worth $49 just for the photo editing part, but what really adds the value is all the other tools that were in there that I thought were really interesting, that I just didn't have time to explore. And the Sefrin saying the guy had a few Black Panthers and lions. Wow. Anyways, it was a privilege and honor to be able to handle these animals while they knocked them out, sometimes to check out the condition of the teeth. Wow. I just can't imagine wild animals, you know, and I mean, what if they're faking it? You know, you shoot them and it didn't really knock them out, then they just wait for you to come up there and they pounce. And Lycibus says, Rob, still trying to make up my mind between an Ollie 40 to 50 150 Pro or the 100 to 400. 40 to 150 Pro slightly ahead due to better stabilization and wide aperture. With a future purchase of 1.4, what do you think? I'd still say go for the 40 to 150 Pro. I don't know how much reach you really need, but yeah. Because the 1.4 teleconverter, what makes it a 200 millimeter, right? 210 or something. What is it exactly? 150 times 0.4. I have a calculator. 150 times 1.4. Whoops, accidentally killed my stream. Yeah, 211 millimeters. And then you'll be at like f4. That's a tough call though, right? So 210 millimeters at f4 versus a 100 to 400. I think we need to wait and see what the 100 to 400 is going to cost, right? I mean, it may solve the problem for you. You know, if they want like $10,000 for it, then yeah, the 40 to 150. But it depends on what it's going to cost. And there was a question from Rudolph, says, obviously there's going to be one more Olympus camera release. What is your guess? I thought about that because I saw that somewhere. And I'm thinking, they've already got the Mark IV EM10, the Mark III EM1, and the Mark III EM5. What's left are the pens. And they just did the Pen 11, didn't they? Because, you know, I've been looking at the 9, the 10 came out. I think the Pen PL 11 is out. Let me see, Olympus PL 11. The PL. So it's either going to be the PL 11 or yeah, I'm thinking the Pen PL 11 or a Pen F2. I'm crossing my fingers for a Pen F2. I would love to get an original Olympus Pen F2, like made by Olympus. I know it's in name only, even if JIP takes over and uses the same factories and everything, but an original Olympus Pen F2, cross your fingers. But my guess would be it's probably a PL11. When did the PL10 come out? Not too long ago, so maybe not. I think it's the one, oh, the 100 to 400 is 1500. I was thinking of the 150 to 400, right? Or is it the 150 to 4? You know, the other high-end lens that they're coming out with. I would go with the 40 to 150 with the 1.4x teleconverter. And you can buy a 2x teleconverter, which will get you really close. And then you're only at f5.6, and I'm sure it'll be sharper than the 150 to 400 or the 100 to 400. So that's where my money would go, I think, is to a 40 to 150 with a teleconverter. Yeah, the Pen F2, right? That would be nice. EM1X Mark II, I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt an EM1X Mark II. Because the EM1X Mark I didn't sell that well, judging by how heavily it's being discounted. And yeah, the Pen F, they said, met their sales goals, but they never intended to make a Pen F2 when they made the Pen F1. I read that somewhere. It was an interview with one of the Olympus people. So, but if they want to give us a surprise before they finally, because I've always said the Pen F was sort of their golden child, or their, see my vocabulary. Not the golden child, but their halo camera, in my opinion. It's like they're the camera that they can build, not the camera that anybody needed, but they built it because they can. And the Pen F2 would be a really nice way to go out before JIP, you know, takes over, I think. And Nature agrees. John says, I use Affinity Photo for most of my editing. If you get into the software, it has advantages over Photoshop. Try in-painting tool brush. You'll be surprised. Also can open multiple images. I have to look into that. I mean, my problem is finding images that I want to edit. I mean, if I go out and take pictures and come back and edit right away, it's not an issue. But if I want to go back, you know, look at pictures from a couple years ago and edit them, this is where I have a problem with Affinity. Yeah, Lars is voting for a Pen F2, right? New sensor, 40 megapixel surveillance something. Let's not get carried away. I would be content with the 20 megapixel sensor that we have in our EM1s. With phase detect, and then add a mic jack, for God's sake. Just add a mic jack for me. I don't care if anybody else needs it, but I need it. And then expand on the color wheel so we can not only control saturation but also control tint or hue and luminance, just like we can in Workspace. They've already done the programming in Workspace. All they have to do is port that over to the Pen F, and then we have the perfect camera. For me, anyway. And Glico Curry is saying, thinking of buying an EM10 Mark IV to replace my EM10. Will I see any significant difference? Not really. Not if you're just point and shoot, like just taking pictures, you know, with your current. Now the Mark 4 will have more features, like it has that panorama feature, and it's going to have much better video features. Clearly, it's going to have even 1080p is going to be much better. So it is a significant upgrade from the Mark 1 for those things. And the fully flip down screen is really nice to have too. So you will see a difference in terms of functionality and features. I think in ultimate image quality though, if you're just taking a picture of something and put it side by side with the EM10 Mark IV, I don't think you'll see a lot of difference. There's not going to be a huge amount of dynamic range improvement or sharpness or anything like that. Or even in low light, the ISO's noise and everything will be about the same. But you should see a difference in the autofocusing ability. The image stabilization should be better, so you can take better, less, longer shots. So there are some significant improvements in the Mark IV over the Mark I. But if you're a very casual shooter where you just take a picture of, say, a bridge, or take a picture of this, of your family once in a while, ultimately there's not going to be much difference for very basic photography. But if you really want to get into the additional features, the new features over the Mark I, and also much better video, yeah, there's a significant improvement there in those things. A video photo is not an asset manager, it's more of a non-subscription alternative. Yeah, the asset management is non-existent, which is a problem for me. I'd rather pay a little more, like Photoshop Elements, and get that, because that's invaluable. Oh, Music Sound Gear, you're here. Awesome. Yeah, I got your email about you bought that 25mm lens for 160 bucks. That was a good deal, and it's a great lens. It really is. I'm using it now, actually. Not that it's really in its optimal setting, because I'm shooting it, using it for a live stream, and I'm using this very cheap $20 HDMI adapter, which I noticed the images are good, but they're just a hair less sharp than my other device that I use. But the way my new office is set up, I didn't have an HDMI cable long enough to use it today. I like my J5 capture card better than the $25. The $25 one is good for, it's good enough, right, for the money, right? But it lets me do things like this, like, for 20 bucks. This is really useful for doing tutorials and things. Oh, what time is it? I need to get ready for my next live stream for photo editing. Yeah, Affinity never claims to do that. That's true. Like I said, it's only 49 bucks, and it probably goes on sale for less than that. And I think it's very competent photo editor, and it did have a lot of features in it. And it was very snappy. I didn't notice any delays in editing like you do in Workspace. God knows you're waiting, like, you hit the render, you'd make a change. Workspace is so slow. Oh my God. But Affinity Photo was very snappy. It looked like it was a very low overhead software in terms of system resources. So it's definitely worth $49. No question. Yeah, yeah, so much fun, Rob. It's always a wee blur. And Randy, he likes his DF, yeah. Oh wait, Wudang has a question. Wudang says, I have one question. Higher bitrate RAWs are the future, yet we were stuck with 8-bit monitors. Has anyone invested in a 10-bit monitor for photo editing? 10-bit workflow has advantage for print. Well, to find a true 10-bit monitor, I mean, they have the 10-bit monitors that are not true 10-bit, but they fake it by some kind of way they do the lenses on the individual pixels on the monitor, so that effectively to the naked eye it looks like a 10-bit image. And but yeah, I think I think we're still a few years away from 10-bit monitors being mainstream and affordable. The because you really need the monitors really have to be super bright to get true color definition and contrast. Most monitors are like 300 nits or less. There's some at 400 nits, but like I said, they get real expensive in terms of, the brighter. They have a new monitor tech coming out with mini LEDs that's supposed to be like 1,000 nits brightness. And I think that at that point, it would be worth investing in a 10-bit monitor, whether it's that, fake me out 10-bit, which I think is effectively as good to the naked eye, or if it's a true 10-bit resolution. But you're never going to get true 10-bit. Even if you had a true 10-bit monitor, if you're like at a 300 nit brightness, it doesn't really matter. You need to have a super bright monitor. So when the mini LED monitor market picks up, I think that's the time to invest in something like that if you want to do hardcore, professional editing and printing, and you need that whole workflow, color workflow too. So yeah, that's all high-end stuff though, man. Much higher end than anything I would ever need. Maybe in the future though, but at least 2 years away from me even thinking about it. Yeah, and Rudolph's saying the BenQs are pretty well renowned for their color accuracy and, uh, color accuracy mainly. But the brightness is about the same as everywhere else, and they have a really good selection. But I think even their 10-bit monitors aren't true 10-bit. They're sort of that fake 10-bit. I forget what technology they call it, but like I said, it has something to do with the lenses on the individual pixels that shift to give you that extra color that 10-bit would give you, but it's not actually delivering that color from the source. It's projecting that color through a lens, some kind of lens shifting. It was really interesting. Like I said, I read these white papers on stuff and then I can't remember it. You'll need dark glasses. Maybe not. Maybe not, John. Because having a bright monitor is not necessarily the brightness, but also getting the difference between the dark areas, that contrast. Yeah, it is very difficult to execute Wudang in a practical way. It's true. Yeah, sleeping disorder. I don't know. I wear those smart watches that measure my sleep, and most nights I do get a solid sleep, and I feel like I got a solid sleep. I wake up, I have coffee, I'm pretty good up until about 12 o'clock, right? So I'm up about 6 hours. And then I have lunch, and that's when I crash. And then I'm like, so hard. But, coming in here and doing the stream, I feel a little bit more awake now. When I came, so I haven't even had coffee. I've been drinking a little bit of tea, but it's very, very thin tea. That sleep thing was very interesting. Which sleep thing? I can't even remember now. But I definitely noticed my cognitive abilities are slipping. I mean, I used to be sharp as a tack. I could add like 10 numbers in a row like this in my head. And now 8-bit plus FRC. Thank you, Lysippus. That's what it's called. FRC. That's to give you that 10-bit color to the naked eye. And it's effective, right? It works. So they say. I don't have one. But I think the true innovation in monitor tech is going to be the mini LEDs. There's some laptops that have them now. Your episode on that watch monitor. The episode on the watch monitor. I don't remember that one. 2 plus 2 equals 5. I didn't even catch that was wrong for a split second. Hey, Levente, how are you? Yeah, you're not late. I'm gonna be starting my next photo editing live stream. Uh, so I should probably wrap this one up actually. Um, I think. Let me see. I'm doing okay. I'm feeling a little more awake. I just need to get out and talk to people, like even if it's just in a chat section. I can't even remember to turn the mics on to start my streams. I know. Well, that's a technical issue. That what I need is a checklist, right, before I start a stream. But my problem is I just said, oh crap, it's like 3 o'clock. I gotta start the stream, right? So I'll just quickly throw on a shirt or something and comb my hair, and then turn the computer on, and then oh. But I did spend a lot of time this morning working on these little buttons, so I can flip between stuff, you know. Um, that's gonna help, because you know when I get, you know, but I was expecting more questions where I'd have to whip out the camera a little bit. So but yeah, the like button. Oh, I appreciate that, Trevor. I get, you know, what's always curious to me is I get these likes, I get these dislikes before the stream even starts. So I'm not sure what they don't like. Like they don't like what time it's starting. I don't get it. I mean, when I get likes before the stream starts, I get that because people are, you know, and I'm very flattered, but you want to see the stream start. But people are hitting dislike before it even starts. Maybe for the same reason they're not happy what time the stream is starting, and they're just letting me know. I don't know. Some people are just bitter. Probably Peter or Robin hitting the dislike button. They're just jealous that they don't stream as often as I do. I do need to make some videos. I'll end this stream with this. I am making a part 3 on my exposure for beginners, which most of you are not going to need that are that are in my streams. But I am going to. So I got my little clipboard. So I have my notes to start my next video for part 3. And I'm gonna actually use the camera and show how to change settings and stuff in exposure. And then part 4, I think I'll get more into more practical, like real life use of what we learned in parts 1, 2, and 3. But it's so basic, right? The part 1 was very basic. Part 2 is just learning how to use stops. Part 3 is going to be learning how to control the camera. And then part 4, I think I'll get more into exercises of practicing exposure, or getting exposure right. So, okay, I need to get to my next stream. So everybody that came in today, I really appreciate it. It's always great to see everybody come into my streams. You guys make me so happy, and I'm glad I can help in any way that I can. So it's as always, it's great seeing you guys, and hopefully see you again back on Sunday. And I might start, oh, actually, yeah, I might start Sunday a little bit later because I'm going on a photo walk Sunday morning. But other than that, I'll be back on Sunday. Well, that didn't work. That was supposed to do it. Oh, there it goes.